Russia's Astrakhan gas processing plant has halted production of gasoline and diesel as a result of a UAV attack on the night leading to September 22, Reuters reported. The drone strikes caused a fire at a condensate production unit with a capacity of 3 million metric tons per year. Located roughly 395 kilometers from Ukraine's eastern border, the site is within range of numerous Ukrainian drone strikes. It produces gasoline and diesel fuel. According to sources, the plant may only be able to resume production in several weeks or months. The Astrakhan gas processing plant, one of Russia's largest gas chemical facilities, is situated at the Astrakhan gas condensate field. In 2022, it processed around 10 billion cubic meters of natural gas and 3.418 million tons of unstable condensate. With a workforce of about 5,600 employees, it is the biggest industrial enterprise in the Astrakhan region. Previously, in July 2024, drones targeted a missile range in the Astrakhan region, striking the installation and testing facility in the Aktubinsky district. Ukraine has increased aerial attacks on Russia's energy infrastructure, including oil and gas production facilities and pipelines, trains transporting oil, in an effort to cut energy supplies to the Russian army and to degrade Moscow's war efforts as the war enters its fourth year. Defense forces of Ukraine struck two important Russian occupier targets. Ukrainian defenders also hit two aircraft in temporarily occupied Crimea. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reported this. It is reported that the most important targets of the Russian aggressor have been hit. Specifically, in an effort to reduce the enemy's offensive potential and complicate the supply of fuel and ammunition to the occupying forces' military units, on the night of September 23, units of the missile and artillery forces and the unmanned systems forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, in cooperation with other units of the defense forces, struck a linear production control station in the Bryansk region of the Russian Federation. The General Staff explained that LPDS-8N is part of the LPDS-8N, LPDS Steel Horse main oil pipeline complex. The facility is of strategic importance for supplying petroleum products to the Russian occupation army. A hit to the pump and compressor station, followed by a fire in the area, has been confirmed. A second strike by Ukrainian Armed Forces Unmanned Systems Forces units on the Samara Linear Production Control Station in Russia's Samara Oblast has also been confirmed. This production station blends high and low-sulfur crude oil from various fields to produce Urals, the export grade of crude oil. It is noted that the extent of the damage is being clarified. Additionally, hits on two aircraft at the Kacha military airfield in the temporarily occupied territory of the Autonomous Republic of Crimea were confirmed. Enemy weapons struck units of the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. The results and extent of the damage are being clarified, the General Staff added. As a reminder, the Ukrainian Defense Forces struck a Russian Army drone distribution center and ammunition depot in the temporarily occupied territories. Ukraine carried out drone strikes on Moscow throughout the night of September 23, Mayor Sergei Sobyanin reported, adding that dozens of unmanned aircraft were downed. Sobyanin began reporting on the drone attacks on the evening of September 22 and continued to update throughout the night. 34 Ukrainian drones flying toward Moscow were shot down, he said. According to Russia's defense ministry, a total of 69 Ukrainian drones were shot down over 9 Russian regions, including Moscow Oblast, as well as over occupied Crimea overnight on September 23. Airspace over the Russian capital was closed due to the drone attack, prompting a temporary suspension of operations at Moscow's airports. Emergency services were dispatched to the sites where drone debris had fallen, the mayor said. No casualties or damage were reported. Kiev's forces regularly target Russian regions both along the front lines and in the rear with drones. But local media outlets have reported loud noises across Moscow. No casualties or damage have been reported. Explosions were reported in 9 districts of the city. Some outlets say that in Solntsevo and Roitov, drones crashed in residential areas because Russian air defenses shot them down over residential areas. Baza reported flight delays at Moscow airports, 9 flights at Sheremetyevo, 6 at Nukovo, and 3 at Domodedovo. According to the BBC, Russia's Federal Air Transport Agency denied reports of airport closures, though it confirmed the implementation of temporary restrictions at Sheremetyevo airport. The reported Ukrainian attacks come as Russia continues its regular strikes on civilian infrastructure in Ukraine, while the peace talks have failed to produce any tangible results.
The partisan movement Atesh announced constant surveillance of key bays of the Russian Black Sea Fleet in Sevastopol and control over the movement of ships and equipment. This was reported by representatives of the movement on social networks. Our agents are constantly monitoring key bays and facilities of the Russian Black Sea Fleet. Every movement of enemy ships, every piece of equipment, everything is under our control, the message says. After the last successful strikes on the fleet, the occupiers are trying to disguise equipment, moving it mainly at night and keeping air defense units in constant combat readiness. Atesh pays special attention to the submarine Rostov-on-Don. The vessel has been hit twice by the Ukrainian Defense Forces. It was raised, but repairs have not begun due to the seriousness of the damage and resource limitations. Also under constant surveillance, according to agents, are the rescue vessel Epron and the large landing ship Konstantin Olshansky, seized by the Russians in 2014. Strelitska Bay near Sevastopol, once a key base for Russian warships in occupied Crimea, is now nearly empty and used primarily for mooring tugboats and small patrol craft, the Atesh partisan group reported recently. According to the group, Russia now uses the bay mainly for maintenance work and rare anti-sabotage defense drills, having pulled most major vessels from the area. Recently, the bay has been practically empty. The degradation of the occupation fleet in Sevastopol is becoming increasingly obvious. Strelitska Bay, which previously housed a large number of combat vessels, is now idle, Atesh said. The remaining combat units are periodically rotated and redeployed in an apparent effort to avoid detection by Ukrainian reconnaissance. Every object is under control. No ship will go unnoticed, Atesh said, adding that all ship movements are being tracked and shared with the Ukrainian armed forces. Sevastopol has served as the base for Russia's Black Sea Fleet since the illegal annexation of Crimea in 2014. Repeated Ukrainian attacks using naval drones, missiles, and long-range drones have forced the Kremlin to reduce its naval presence in occupied Crimea. Ukraine has destroyed several Russian vessels, including the Caesar Kunikov landing ship, the Sergei Kotov patrol ship, the Ivanovets missile corvette, and multiple high-speed landing crafts.